Hello and welcome to another exam paper walkthrough. Today we're looking at the GCSE Mathematics Practice Set 22, paper 1S. So this is the most recent practice paper from Edexcel. This was written in winter 23. So we're now in, well, we're just after that. I've just done the higher paper. That actually says spring 23. So the winter 23 caught me off slightly. If we make a start, so this video, I'll be going through it in chunks of 10 questions. I'll do a page, then I'll use the mark scheme to have a look at where the marks come from for those questions. I would strongly recommend that you've attempted this paper beforehand, or you have a blank copy that you do as I'm going through the questions. There is a blank copy attached within the video, whether it's on YouTube or on Teams. You should find a blank copy if you've not got one. Okay, just noticed on this, didn't notice it on the higher, some of the advice, some of the information, total marks for 80. Questions are in order of mean difficulty as shown by students achieving a grade 4. The marks for each questions are shown in brackets, and use this as a guide as to how much time to spend on each question. So I've not seen that before on a practice paper. Probably has been, but I've not paid that much attention. Let's kick off with question 1 then. Write these numbers in order of size, starting with the smallest. Okay, so let's make a start on that. So our smallest number here then is 7. Our next smallest number then is 58. We've then got 123, 180, followed by 202. Commas in between them, and we're good to go. Okay, question 2, write 0.7 as a fraction. So that's just going to become 7/10 or 7/10. And then question 3, write a number in the box so that the following statement is correct. 3/4 and are equivalent fractions. So I've times by 5 here. So I need to times by 5 for the numerator as well. So that's going to become 15. Okay, right, let's go to the mark scheme then. So I haven't actually got the mark scheme open just yet, so bear with me 30 seconds. There we go. Okay. So mark scheme states, let me just get my second screen view better. There we go. So it is just a B1 for the first one with them in the correct order. So we'll go green, B1. For the second question, we are looking at another B1. It does say you could have had or equivalent, so 70/100 is also given as an example that would work. 14/20 would also work. And then for question 3, write the number in the box. We're looking at 15 for a B1 mark. Okay, question 4 then, write these number in order. Okay, interesting, another order question. Whenever we're ordering decimals, if you're ever unsure, I tend to make them all the same number of decimal places. So we've got 3 decimal places, 1, 2, 3, and 2. So I'm going to make them all 3 decimal places. So add a couple of zeros in, and then I can order them in a much more straightforward method. So in effect, 15 thousandths is going to be the smallest one. So 0.015. My next smallest one is going to be this one, 0.155. My next smallest one then is 0.15. Just note, when I'm writing these numbers down, I don't write with the extra zeros that I put in. That was just to help me order them. My next smallest one then is going to be this one, 1.15. And then my largest then is 1.5. I'll put commas in to separate. Okay, question 5, work out 3/5 of 35. So in effect, I'm going to write this as 3 times by 35 divided by 5. I'm going to do the division first of all. So 35 divided by 5 is 7. So it's 3 times by 7, which is going to be 21. There's nothing wrong with doing 3 times by 35 and then dividing your answer by 5. You just get slightly more complicated numbers where you're dividing, but you'll still get the same value. Okay, and that's it for that page. So question 4 is just B1 for correct order. Just double checking my order. Oh gosh, I've made a mistake really early on the paper. That's quite embarrassing. So this one should be over here. So let me just change that. That's me brushing. There we go. Okay, so B1 there. Question 5, then we're looking at 3/5 of 35, and we are looking at M1 for a complete method. So I'm going to say that's my complete method, and then A1 for my answer. Okay, then question 6. We've got the pictogram question. The pictogram shows information about the number of loaves of bread sold in a bakery each day from Tuesday to Friday last week. We've got the key here representing one full circle represents 6 loaves. How many loaves of bread were sold on Friday? Well, we've got, in effect, 6, 6, and 6. So we've got 18 loaves sold on Friday. The total number of loaves sold in the bakery Monday to Friday last week was 66. Work out the total number of loaves sold Monday last week. Okay, so I need to total up all of these. I'm going to kind of take a shortcut though. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 full loaves. And then I've got 3 halves, so 1.5. So I've got 7.5 loaves sold. And then I need to multiply that by number of, I've got 7.5 pictures. And then I'm going to times that by 6. 7 times 6 is going to be 42. So I'm looking at 42 plus 3. So I'm looking at 45 loaves sold in total. And I'm not quite done there. Jumping ahead of myself. So I've got 45 loaves sold there. So if 45 were sold in sold Tuesday to Friday, then that means that on Monday last week there would have been 66 minus 45, so there would have been 21. Yeah, 21. Show this information for Monday on the pictogram. So 21 divided by 6 is going to be 3.5. So I'm drawing 3.5 loaves. So 1, 2, 3, and then I always try to show a half as it's shown in the diagram. So not perfect pictures, but you get the idea. Okay, and that's it for that page. So if we go to the mark scheme, question 6, we have got B1 for 18. For part B, we have got an M1 follow through from part A. So 66 minus 15 minus 9 minus 3 minus 18, or 66 minus 7.5. So we've got a clear method there, and then an A1 for the 21. And then for part 3, it says B1, 3.5 diagrams drawn, follow through from there, 21. So you can pick up a follow through mark for this. If you, for example, you found this to be, let's say, 15, then if you've drawn 2.5, then that would be fine. You can pick up the follow through mark. Okay, question 7. Write down the number marked with the arrow on the scale. Okay, so We've got 3.7 shown here, 3.8 shown here. So the middle part would be 3.75. And then just checking what these go up in. So how many steps we've got between that point and that point. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. So each one is going to be worth 0.01. So that's going to be 3.76. Okay, with an arrow, mark the number 0.04 on the scale below. So midpoint again would be 0.05. And we're going 1, 2, 3, 4. So our arrow should be pointing to that point there. Write the number 5.68 correct to 1 decimal place. So if we round it to 1 decimal place, we're rounding to that value. The number behind it is greater than 5, so that would become 5.7. Okay, and that's it for that page. So mark scheme for question 7. We have got a B1 mark for 3.76. We've then got an arrow pointing at 0.04. So B1 mark. And then a B1 for 5.7. So there we go. Right, question 8, simplify. 6p minus 6p plus 2p plus p minus 3p. So when I'm simplifying, I tend to underline my terms, including the operator in front of them. So 6p plus p becomes 7p. And then I would then kind of circle my others, including the operator in front of them. So 2t minus 3t would become minus t. And part B, work out the value of a when x is equal to 5 and y is equal to 4. So some basic substitution. So a is going to be equal to 8 times by the value for x, which is 5, minus 3 times the value for y, which is 4. So we're looking at 8 times 5 is 40, minus 12. So that's going to be 28. Question 9, simplify a times a times a times a times a. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lots of